All right, coaches, thanks for being here. We're on YouTube Live. We're talking 33 stack defense today. My name is Joe Daniel from joedanielfootball.com and the Football Coaching Podcast. We're going to get up here on the board and we're going to talk about some 33 stack basic run fits, talk about defend the run with the 33 stack. We're going to get the base alignment. We're going to get the how we fit into our runs and just look at a couple of things, power, stretch, see how those look. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're not going to waste any time, and we're just going to start looking at the base 33 stack. So as soon as I find where I put the marker, it's live for real. All right, so I'm going to draw this against what is really, our base formation, and hopefully give you some idea of how we defend that. And 33 stack, just first of all, it's the 33 stack is the exact same thing. 33 stack, 3-5-3 defense, 5-3 defense. All that changes is what we call those guys on the outside. So when we're talking about the interior guys, there's absolutely no difference in them. And I'll give them names. We call them Sam, Mike, and Will. So we've got the nose, two ends. Then we've got our Will, Mike, Sam linebackers here. That's the base. That's your stack. I'm a big, don't break the stack kind of guy, at all costs, but I'm also moving more towards multi-front ideas. This is our base stack, and this is our 6 guys underneath. Now, the important thing here when we start to talk run fits is these 6 guys will be your, they're going to be your spill players. They're going to be the guys that are responsible for turning the ball to the outside. So those guys are your inside spill players. When we start talking about the umbrella in just a minute, outside, we call them a strong safety. You can call them whatever you want. Weak safety. Look, what we're talking about today, it's irrelevant. Your coverage, what coverage you're running when we're talking about this doesn't really matter. When we're talking about the 33 stack defense, we can run cover 3, we can run cover 2, we can run split field coverages, we can run cover 1, cover 0. What I'm going to tell you about later on is the 33 stack defensive system, and there's actually a link down in the description to get a 14-day free trial to that system. So when I talk about this, I'm talking about that whole system and everything in it. And we've got coaches at youth, middle school, high school, semi-pro, international, college running this system. And the system is interchangeable with our 3-4 defense and kind of all born out of the 4-2-5 defense system. They're all interrelated. We can run them as multiple fronts. We can run, move into one, move into another anytime that we want. It's not a big deal. So when we talk about this, your coverage is not related to what we're talking about with run fits right now. Any coverage that we run in the 33 stack defensive system is going to have these weak safety, strong safety. And let me tell you, it is hot in this room right now. It's like 115 degrees in Virginia today. And I turned the air conditioning off so that we wouldn't have sound, wouldn't have the air conditioning because it's just a window unit. So if you see me beating up with sweat, it's because it's hot right now. There's also a chat box here, so if you want to jump in on the chat box, I'll do Q&A at the end. Just post down in there. All right. Base alignment, we line up with our ends, 4-0-4 alignment, okay? 4 being head up on the tackle, 0 being head up on the center. 4-0-4 alignment. I'm not going to get into who we want to play which positions because we're just doing a little run fits today. 33 stack defensive system, we get into all that, who you want to play there, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to flip these guys really. It depends on what you've got, who you've got. If there's a significant difference in them, maybe you want to, but you certainly don't have to flip these backers at all. If you don't want to, you can put them there and leave them there, and it's fine. So we've done it with a Lion, Mike, and Ram. I think I got that from John Rice in his video series on the 33 stack. We've done it with the Will, Mike, and Sam. Whatever you want to do. We call these guys weak safety, strong safety. You might call them outside backers, spur and bandit. You might call them defensive ends. Really doesn't matter. Their job is going to be the same ultimately. Now, All that said, let's just do a base cover three. I know cover three sucks against this 4 vertical, but again, it really doesn't matter. We can go quarters. We can do absolutely any coverage that we want when we're talking about this. So this is our base alignment here. So this is the 33 stack, and this is obviously where our stack comes from. And then what we work on now is the umbrella principle. This is a thing that I didn't make up. I stole it from TCU, learning the 4-2-5 defense. I picked up on this. Basically, this is the fastest, easiest way to teach run fits to high school football players, youth football players, because it makes sense. And the beauty of it is I can now take this and I can move guys all over the place. Like I can move them to, I can move them into a 4-2-5 front. I can move them into a 3-4 front. All that matters is, are you under the umbrella or are you outside of the umbrella? Where are you on the umbrella? And when we interchange all these different fronts, we don't move these guys from one part of the umbrella or another. And so it makes it very consistent, and it works very well with these guys understanding what they do. The guys under the umbrella, go back to the black here, are your spill players. Okay, spill means they are turning the ball to the outside. We are not going to allow the football to run north and south, okay? We're not going to allow you to just bust us straight down the field. I know, look, I don't understand, old school box end stuff. Like, I don't know much about it. I really don't. So I can't sit here and argue with you which one's right and which one's wrong. The first defense that I learned was the Miami 4-3 defense, okay? And that is a spill it and kill it, angle the ends, tilt the, coming in hard and forcing the ball to the outside. This is how I understand run fits. This is also what the majority of football teams and defenses are doing, is spilling the football. So sometimes I get questions about, hey, what do we do? We turn it in, and like, how do I play ISO and that kind of stuff. We want everything to continue bouncing to the sidelines. We don't want anything going north and south. North and south is bad. East and west is good. We run it down. Part of the concept of when we talk about 4-2-5, 33 stack, guys will say, well, you gotta have the right players. You gotta have speed on the field. Like, no, we don't. I call a 5'1" kid an outside linebacker, or I call him a strong safety. It doesn't matter. If I call him a safety, he might feel faster. But that's it. Like, ultimately, we're just giving him names. But the concept is, I want more speed on the field. We do try to get more speed on the field. And so if we've got more speed on the field, we're going to be trying to move guys, make the ball continue to run east and west behind the line of scrimmage so that speed can run it down and get there. If we were just huge mammoth beasts, I would think about, we're just going to turn everything to the inside to like some human-eating middle linebacker. But that human-eating middle linebacker we don't have. And never really have. So, if you had a gigantic 3-tech or something like that, or nose, these guys are spilling. What spill means, besides we're going to keep the ball moving east and west, is when we attack a gap. Let's say that we've got a strong slant, and again, I'm not going to get deep into all the little calls and things like that. It's all in the 33 stack defense system. But let's say that we have a strong slant. Okay. If we're slanting strong, it means that, and I actually got to redraw him. It means that we're controlling the inside half of the gap. If we control the inside half of the gap, and this is a lot of conceptual stuff, chalkboard stuff, it's not the reality of how football works. The idea is that if I'm on the inside half of the gap, so if I'm lined up on an offensive center, tackle, whatever, and I slant, so let's say I'm the right end here, and I slant to the right, I'm going to attack your outside shoulder if you're the tackle. And by doing that, I'm going to make sure there's no air between me and the tackle, so that if you run anywhere, it's going to be to the outside. Okay? Guys will say, well, who's got the outside half of the gap? How freaking big is the gap? Like, it's not that big. It's if I've got a 240-pound defensive end and he strikes the outside half of the tackle and they've got a 3-foot split, even if it's a 3-foot split, like, I got you if you try to run through there. It's not a problem. So when we say inside half of the gap, it's conceptual. He's in the gap. What we want to make sure of, the key here is that he doesn't run way outside and now he gets kicked out. Okay, so all we're doing when we're saying inside half of the gap with the D lineman really is defending against being kicked out. And if that guy goes down, I'm going to squeeze down and take the air out. And so they are always going to control the inside half of the gap. And it's the same for the linebackers. Whether we blitz them or they get a run read, Let's say that he gets a run read here, and he's coming to B gap. He got a whatever inside zone read, and he's coming to fill it. He's coming to that B gap. He's going to look to now. He's not going to look. I'm like the worst block destruct coach in the country. I hear guys tell me, "Well, I don't understand why you can't do it." I don't either, but I've heard some honest college coaches tell me that they can't either. We can't. I don't have linebackers that can come in and like shed your guard. Like they're 100-pound kids are a dime a dozen. Like linebackers with a 400-pound bench aren't. I've got a 180-pound linebacker. He's not getting in there, so he's going to scrape paint with the guard or with the tackle. In this case, the guard. What I mean by that is he's going to come tight to him and he's going to rip. And he wants to have no air in between him, but he's going to rip through him and make sure he's got the inside half of that gap, again, not to get kicked out. The first year that I ran this defense was 2006, I believe. And I was a young coach. It was my first or second year as a JV defensive coordinator. We're installing this defense, and I don't really have a grasp of run fits, and this is why I tell you this is so important. I didn't really have a grasp of run fits at that time. We played a team that we were very evenly matched with. They were a power counter team, like we are now, like we do in the pistol power offense system. In fact, same coaches. We were kicked out on power 10,000 times because our guys were taking the outside half of the linebackers were reading it, coming up wide, bam, kicked out, inside of them, and it never gets to the outside. So, spill guys under the umbrella. Outside of the umbrella, force, okay? These guys are always the force players. So we've got 6 guys forcing the ball to the outside, or spilling the ball to the outside. We've got 2 guys, and obviously it's going to go one side or the other. The other force guy is your counter reverse bootleg guy, usually. Now, if we're running quarters, that may be different, but the counter reverse bootleg guy is the other side guy. So if the run to our right here, this will be our force player, and this guy would be bouncing and shuffling and checking counter reverse bootleg before he gets into pursuit angle. But we're going to spill the ball. So let's say they run inside zone, boom. Inside half of the gap is filled, inside half of the gap is filled, inside half of the gap is filled. And then the strong safety is the guy who, keeps the outside arm and leg free. Don't let yourself get hooked. He's got to come down and take on any block with the inside shoulder. Okay, so he's the opposite of everyone else. He's attacking the outside hip of the ball carrier, whereas everyone else is attacking the inside hip of the ball carrier or the blocker. And so he is the force player. The last guy is the alley player, and it's your free safety. When you run quarters, this gets dicey because your alley player is either a linebacker or a backside safety, depending on who you want running. We talked about did the last live, or not last live video, one of the podcasts recently. We did press quarters coverage, and I've got a video on my YouTube channel on press quarters coverage. So go ahead and check that out. Subscribe to the channel. And Michigan State with the press quarters was really big on that backside safety running because the cat runs like a 4-4. Like, why do you want him sitting back there going counter reverse bootleg? Like, run. And they'd sit the backside linebacker. So it depends on who you use for that in quarters. But in every sound defense, this applies. So this is not 33 stack stuff. We use this for our 4-2-5, our 3-4, our 4-3. Our players should know who force spill is and be able to do this. Now, the free safety, he is the alley defender. Okay? He is the alley defender. The alley, what we teach our guys is, you guys spill everything out of the umbrella. You guys keep everything under the umbrella. Alley guy, you run the tip of the umbrella. Okay? So he runs an inside-out path. He's always going to be working inside-out on the back, but he will end up in a perfect world, chalk talk. That's what we're doing right now, right? We're on chalkboard, whiteboard, whatever. I wish I had a chalkboard. That'd be awesome. Covered in chalk right now. There's dust all over the room. As the ball spills inside out, chalkboard rule, he is the tip of the umbrella. So as we spill this thing, he's right there. The alley is the space between the last spill guy. It doesn't matter who it is. This is not a spot on the field. This is not a couple of yards on the field. This is a conceptual spill, force, alley, okay? So this guy is going to be between the last spill guy and the force guy, okay? That's your run fit. Okay. The last thing, and I think this is so important, we lost 2 games in 1 year on this one time because these guys came up. And actually, it was 2 different guys. One of them wasn't even, we were in a cover 2. So that guy didn't know. Stay in coverage. So, like, we're in cover 3 right now. These guys' job is to stay in coverage. Okay. They're not coming up unless that ball is 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, you better be sure if you're going to be coming up to try to make a play on the run. And that's the only exception to that is they are the secondary force. Okay. So they're secondary force. The writing is getting dicey over there. So they're secondary force, meaning that crack, if that guy engages, make sure he engages, replace. And now he becomes the force player. Okay? On a crack, replace. Now, crack, and we drill this. We've got drills in the 33 stack defensive system. You can get a 14-day trial for $1 down in the description there. We drill this thing. Your corners have got to learn it. When they see that guy coming in, first of all, they've got to save a life. Crack, 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 crack. Okay? If you're not going to yell crack, we're going to swap you. I'm going to let him stand back there and not yell crack. Let you get drilled, and then we'll see who likes what. You don't really do that. Okay? That's like when I played, you could do that. Like, I can't just put a kid out there and be like, go nail him in the back of the head. It'll be awesome. We don't really do that. Okay? That's like, again, it's not. Don't do that to your kids. But we threaten him. Okay, so he's got to make the crack call. That guy engages, meaning he actually blocks the strong safety. Now he comes up secondary force. So that's their job. But stay in coverage unless there's a crack. Now with the gap fits, I'll just mention with the gap fits, it's a stack. So these two, nose and Mike, are responsible for A gap. So if the nose slants strong here, he's got strong A gap, Mike's got weak A gap. Mike is not just running into weak A gap. Like, I don't even talk to the linebackers anymore. I don't talk to linebackers about gaps anymore at all. Like, we sit there and discuss, like, you've got this gap, you've got that gap. We just don't do it because we end up, like, running into gaps. And I want him to be a linebacker. A linebacker fills open windows. He doesn't fill A gap, B gap. He fills open windows. If that defensive lineman screws up and goes the wrong direction, then you better make him right. Okay? If the ball is run on a toss sweep out here and you're filling A gap, why? Like, what purpose can you possibly serve an A gap on a toss? None. So run that football. Same thing here. These guys, the end and the will, they're responsible for if the end goes into B gap, then the will has C gap. Again, we've got a strong slant here. And the sandbacker and the defensive end, same deal, responsible for B gap, C gap over. The biggest problem that you'll ever have in the 33 stack defense is if the defensive lineman goes into a gap and the linebacker follows his butt right in there, because that means that there's another gap on the other side of that offensive lineman that is wide slam open, and we better hope that our free safety is really good. Now, the free safety is a dude because he's unaccounted for in the blocking scheme, so don't just put a guy back there who backpedals and plays center field. Put a guy there who comes downhill and plays football. That's basics of the run fits now. And I'll draw up a couple, I think. Let me check this real quick. All right. Yeah, we're live. Do you have a tough time, Gusta, do you have a tough time with slanting defensive linemen hitting half a man from a head-up position? No, the way we started teaching it, I've been dumb for a long time in my... Close this up. All right, there we go. I've been dumb for a really long time as a football coach. I'm trying to get better at that. I just went and looked at the best team that we play and was like, how do they slant? And because I've worked on, we slant to the knee, do we slant to the hip, do we slant to this, do we slant to that? I've got them now to where we just uppercut, like they step. So when we talk about taking on a half man, we're not strike, rotate, rip. We're not doing all that. If I'm head up on an offensive lineman and I'm slanting to the right. Now this kind of gets dicey when we talk about the run fits. I don't always bring him way down inside now. Okay, I don't always come down and attack the guard or chase the guard or run to the guard hip. I do in certain situations. We got a lot of gap teams, then we may do that in zone teams. I'm probably not. But even still, he can still do it. He can punch and read it. So what I do is have them line up head up, and then he's going to step at his 45 degree, and he's going to load that arm. And then as he comes on his second step, he's bringing an uppercut, like a bam, big forearm. I mean, that's what we're doing because I want to knock that guy back. And basically what I tell them is, if you feel pressure, fight the pressure. If you don't feel pressure, something's up. So for example, if let's say that this defensive end slanted inside, and I went through all the scenarios, and I was like, this is what's going to happen. They're really I'm not going to ISO you in B gap. So really, it'd be like a trap play where he's going to get in trouble by not taking the inside, by not going all the way down to the hip, but just did a conceptual thing with it, and said, look, if they're trapping you, you go all air, you don't feel anything. Eyes better go inside, because you're about to get hit. And so what happens now is they step, boom, and they feel that that guy's left them and isn't blocking them. Eyes go inside, because either I'm getting a reach outside and I'm getting a second reach here, in which case I'll fight the pressure, or I turn inside and he's gone down, and now I've got to come down, and we just say train wreck. We don't even talk about wrong arm, and we just try to blow up the kick out. If you're slanting outside, it works even better, because you step, boom, if he's not there, you just bend it inside. If he tries to reach you, you just continue to fight the reach. If he tries to base you, you just turn the corner, what we say turn the corner, where you're just kind of bend him, still bending. So no, we don't have a problem with that. And we did kind of have some problems when I was trying to get him to do, 4-3 stuff from a 3-3 position. We started doing this, and I think it's been better. We did this more with our 34. All right, so let's look at something. There we go. If you have questions, you can put them down there in the chat box, or post them in the comments below. Starting to beat up a little bit. I should have brought a towel. All right. I'm not going to worry about the receivers right now. They are not important to us for our purposes. And again, I go through how to defend all of these in the 33 stack defensive system. Down in the description, there's a link where you can get 2 full weeks, full access. Check it out, test it out for $1. And then it's $19 a month after that. So if you go down in the description, there's a link for that. Right now, that's the only place that you can get that. So just click on the description down below. And down in the description below to get that. So, power. Depends on what they want to do and who they want to kick out, but let's just going to kick out our strong safety. Probably wouldn't, because he's so wide. Either way, you get the idea. Okay, so that's power. And we're going to use the same strong slant that we were talking about before. All right, defensive end, slant strong, bam, feels pressure, fight pressure. He feels a base block. We don't talk about how to defeat a double team. You guys say, how do you defeat a double team? We don't. He strikes that guy, and he's going to bend his hip, because remember, base block, bend the corner, turn the corner. So he's working to turn the corner here, turn the corner. And as he does that, he's bending, he's giving that hip, so he's not giving good surface, and that's going to naturally split the double team. I don't tell kids how to get whipped. Fall to the ground, twist your shoulder. No, we don't do that. Beat the block. Is he going to beat the block every time? Of course not. But I'm not going to sit here and do waste my practice time on a 10-minute drill on how to get your butt whipped. Here's how to get beat on a block, Johnny. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to love football. All right. Our nose here, he steps, he doesn't feel anything. Okay, now he feels the pressure here, so he's going to be trying to fight the pressure. It's always about fighting pressure, defensive lineman. So he's going to step, boom. Doesn't get blocked by the center. Now, some teams will double the nose to the will backer. In that case, he would be doing the same thing. Boom, fight the pressure, split the double team. Our defensive end is slanting inside. He's going to try to get in the hip pocket of that guard and chase. As he slants, he's getting the hinge block there by the tackle, so he's probably just working to work inside of that and running there. He's a chase pursuit guy. Like, he's not key to the run fit. All right. Our linebackers, and I've got a video on the YouTube channel about how we fit in the 33 stack defense, or how we read with our linebackers. This is how we fit the run, whatever. 33 stack linebacker reads. It's on my YouTube channel as well, so check that out. Basically, depends on coverage, whether we're going to read guards or read back. But let's say that we're reading guards. My Mike backer would be reading the guard to the side that he's responsible. So since our nose is slanting strong, he's going to be reading that weak side guard. He gets a pull from the weak side guard. A pull inside, you feel the first open door across the ball. So he's going to be looking probably right about that area. And what that's going to do now is force the tackle to come off the double on the end in order to pick up the mic. So remember, he's hipping into the tight end. Okay, that tackle has to come off to pick up the mic, running through the open door, running through the open window, not running to the backside A gap like an idiot. Okay, and then he is going to be they're both going to be a one-on-one situation. So we're getting bodies to the ball. We've got our Sam linebacker here doing the same basic thing. The end slants outside. He reads his guard. The guard goes down. He's coming here as well. So we've got multiple bodies coming. If the Sam beats the Mike there, which he probably will, then the Mike would continue the spill, looking for the next open door. The will backer, pull away. He is going to be in pursuit. Okay. The weak safety, counter versus bootleg. He's your backside guy. And our strong safety, he's going to bounce. Don't go till you know. Be patient. This thing's not going to outrun you. Just be patient. And when he reads his backfield key, or quarterback key, is what we read with those guys. It's a whole different thing we talk about in the 33 stack defensive system. And there's a link down below in the description. Did I mention that? I think so. The quarterback will, he sees ball down. He's going to bounce. Make sure it's not play action. Once he's sure he's going to come, we line up wide. We're like 7 yards wide on this thing sometimes. So he's going to come and he's going to meet that kick out block right there. Free safety. I left him out. Free safety, same thing, reading the quarterback, bounce read, all right, it's run, come on down, run the alley, okay? So you can see we're getting bodies to the point of attack, spilling this thing out to that strong safety. As long as that strong safety keeps outside arm and leg free, we're all set, good to go. We got a lot of bodies there, and that's how we're gonna read it. And this would be late pursuit over the top. So that's fitting power. Everything else is pretty basic to that. How we read different blocks. You kind of got a lot of different blocks there. So I'm not going to go into every single different run. So I'm dying right now. Absolutely sweating bullets. So hopefully it'll cool off sometime soon. But that's power. That's our run fits in the 33 stack defensive system. If you want to check it out, there's a link below here. I don't know how long I'll leave. I'll probably leave it for a while. So if you're checking this out later on, it's down there. And hopefully you'll find something good for it. The 33 stack defensive system is a complete system. It's got your playbooks, your drills, practice plans, game planning. There's a 5-module course that teaches you the system from the ground up. You can really get into it no matter how much coaching experience you have and no matter what level you're at. Whether you've been running the 33 stack or 3-5-3 or 5-3 for a long time, get in there and just learn some new stuff, new ideas. Like I said, you can get in there for 2 weeks for $1. Check it out, and it's $19 a month after that for access. There's also the private online forum where you can get access to me, ask questions on there. Me and other coaches will throw in our input. I think one of the coolest things that I heard, and I talked about it in the podcast episode on the origins of the wing tee that I did recently. I think it's 202 or maybe 203. The origins of the wing tee, I mentioned LSU switching to the wing tee and the fact that 1958 LSU wins the national championship. They installed the wing tee offense. And this isn't about the wing tee offense. This is about Every single Sunday, LSU coaches were on the phone with the Delaware coaches going over every single play and talking about what they did, play by play, what went right, what went wrong, how can we correct it. And then on Tuesday, they were calling to talk about their game plan and what they're doing and how it's going. And on Thursday, they're calling again, and they're on the phone for hours every week. God knows what the Delaware coaches are doing. Like, how do they have a game plan at all? But they're on the phone with and I get so many coaches who are like, "Well, it's football season. I don't have time for the subscriptions." Like, this is the time. Like, get other people on the horn. Get other people and talk to them. 33 stack defensive system, all of our systems, 4-2-5 defense system, the 3-4 pistol power offense system, 4-3 defense. You can get all 5 of them by going to joedanielfootball.com, clicking on the little join button up at the top, and you get all five systems and a bunch of other stuff in there. This is the time to have it, so that you can get like advice and stuff. So anyway, rant over. You've got access to me if you're. It's down in the description. Love the 33 stack. Love all defense. Again, you can use this as a change up front. We use it as a change up front to the 4-2-5. We also get into a 3-4. The thing I love about our systems is that week to week to week, when a team comes in and we've got to run a scout, whether we run that, some years we're not running a certain front, but we just tell them, hey, this is whatever, and this is how you adjust to it. Everybody's just moving over a couple feet. That's the only difference in fronts. And we line up, and our scout team's running, their defense, but they're getting work on our defense, our run fits. All that stuff doesn't change. So it's really cool, really great stuff. Check it out, 33 stack defensive system. Link for a 14-day trial for $1 down below in the description. Like and subscribe and share this with some other coaches out there. Appreciate you watching, and I'll be back on, it's not even Facebook Live, is it? What are we on, YouTube Live? I hope I don't get in trouble for that. YouTube Live, and check out my YouTube channel. I've got a couple 33 stack videos that I mentioned, lots of other good stuff, coverages, offense, defense, that's on here. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you watching, Coach.